Hey there everyone, Luke here, and once again apologise for this review being out so late, but had a few things going on this week, most notably trying to get myself through Chrono Trigger so that we can get on with the game video that we have for Chrono Trigger on Control Chaos, and also doing the Ben 10 videos with Tyler on Control Chaos. So that's what's been taking up a decent amount of time this week, and also just basic life stuff as well, like with work and other things. But I'm here now, right, ready to talk about this chapter because, oh boy, I was kind of on the ball with Shinso's with Shinso's True Spring blooming, but at the same time got the name wrong. But we'll talk about that when we talk about the chapter, which we're going to do right now. Okay, so this will be chapter 236, titled Regenerate. So I guess Shinso is the doctor for Doctor Who because he can regenerate. So hey, I'm expecting a new design for Shinso at some point. No. It's basically as the similar concept that I had for his True Spring blooming when I said it in the last video, but like I said, got the name wrong. But anyway, so the chapter starts off pretty much from the end of last chapter with him activating True Spring blooming against Kazu, and Asa telling Asa to stay away from his family. As Asa goes on and says, this is a beautiful True Spring blooming that I'm seeing here. Even without battling I can feel its strength, but strength alone can't solve everything. And yeah, that is essentially true. Like, sometimes strength alone isn't needed, like physical strength, you need mental strength as well. So good on you, Asa, for pointing that out. So anyway, they go on to say, I'm sure your intent was to buy time, but smoothing it with something isn't enough to quench the flames of decay. It rots all it touches, and until it crumbles into death. So yeah, essentially you're kind of screwed if you cannot get this decay ability. If you cannot reverse it in some way, you are basically screwed. But fortunately, Shinso has the Uno reverse card in the form of Regenerate. As he goes and says, one thing my sisters had insisted on for years is that most things can be hit if you just hit them hard. Can be fixed if you just hit them hard enough. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting fact that they bring up here in this chapter, of the fact that, yeah, some things can be fixed if you just hit them hard enough. And yeah, a lot of us have tried that in the past, of just being like, damn it, why won't this work? Oh, it did. How did you get it work? Oh, I just hit it hard enough. And this is exactly what happens here with Regenerate. So we see Shinsu standing atop of Alex, because if you remember, Alex got hit in the last chapter, and decay is just happening all over his body. So Shinsu just powers up a punch and just goes in and says, Regenerate! Yeah, so the power of regeneration punch right here. Not one punch, regeneration punch. So as Shinso uses Regenerate, it doesn't exactly punch Alex per se. Instead, it just sort of like stops right before the impact. You see the flames just like gather all around Alex, and then Shinso is just like, okay, that's done. As you see his body kind of like being clamped sort of together here, as it shows him being like, oh, it'll be okay. Before Shinzo says, oh, Alex, it'll be okay, I've got this. And then Kazu, and then Asa, using Kazu's body, comments like, oh, the decay will stop. Not only that, the Yukon and flesh it roared away have completely regenerated. So yeah, excuse me, the same basic concept I had initially thought of, like I said, like reconstruction or rebirth or something like that. Like the exact opposite of destroy would be like, hey, reconstruction, revive or something like that. But yeah, so like I said, same basic concept, just with a different name. So I got half of it right. So Shinzo obviously goes on to explain what his true blooming is. It squares off before a target and slams simoleon into it, thus repairing it. So yeah, any damage that's been done via either his blooming or somebody else's blooming, like all he has to do is like, oh, true spring blooming, punch it, instantly regenerates. Just like how a sword is hammered into sharp, perfect shape, I take all the wounds, defects, everything bad into a target and hammer it all in. So he's basically turned himself into arrows, just like bang, 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 bang. There we go. Problem solved. As we see Shinzo going to attack Kazu, as Asa reiterates, like, oh, I get what he's trying to do here. He's trying to send regeneration powers in an attempt to basically pull me out of Kazu's body. But yeah, Shinzo is not going to just pull Asa out of Kazu's body. Oh no, he is going to pull him out, but he's going to do it in a way that's like, Jesus Christ, Shinzo. So as Asa is just being like, oh, okay, no, he's trying to use his ability to pull me out. We see Shinzo being pushed back as Asa's like, oh, you mystify me. Are you attempting to free Kazu? Why? What do you gain out of this? You have no obligation to do so. So why are you trying to save him? And Shinzo gives a response to Asa, which Asa just was not even expecting or wasn't even comprehending. Like, he just didn't register. Like, oh, yeah, why would they even care about that? As Shinzo says, did you talk to him about it first? Did you get permission for him from him to actually do what you're doing here? And you just see Asa, like, you just see question mark, basically saying like, why is this even being brought up here? As Shinzo goes on and says, people sling their causes and their important reasons round, capturing other families' futures in the crossfire casually destroys them. That's why I've always hated my blooming. And yet Shinzo has kind of like the opposite personality to his blooming. Like, he's a really buff guy, like all guns blazing, and he has a blooming that can like just destroy anything around him. But yet at the same time, his real personality is that of like Izuku Midoriya from My Hero Academia, which, by the way, series is ending this week. My Hero Academia had a good run of it, and hopefully we're still going to do the My Hero retrospective video on Control Chaos as well, so fingers crossed for that. But yeah, initial thoughts is like, yeah, it was a fun series, but it kind of did fall off the wagon towards the end, and that's kind of like my brief summary of My Hero. But yeah, Shinzo, really badass, but has the personality of how Izuku was at the beginning of My Hero Academia. As he goes on and says that, oh, it just creates nothing, it just destroys. It's literally destruction. That is what my blooming is, and I have hated it for that, because I love my family, I love my friends, and just seeing everything destroyed around them, that's just like something like I just can't comprehend. But hate it, fear it, that changes nothing. So I took a deeper look at the parts of me I hated. So it's kind of like, as well, kind of like how Bruce Banner in The Incredible Hulk hates that side of him, like the Incredible Hulk side. So, and at some point it was like, okay, what do I have to do? Like, do I reject this side of me, or do I just accept it like, oh, it's a part of me? And that's kind of like what's happening with Shinzo here, where it's like, I had to take a deep look at that part of me and I hate, and I finally realised something. I can figure out how systems, structure, and even cells work in order to destroy them. But what if I use some knowledge to put them back together? Because cells do regenerate themselves. Like, hey, I see where you got the name of the blooming from. But yeah, cells can basically regenerate. Regenerate themselves, and that's what kind of Shinzo is doing now. Like, figure out, like, okay, I've got my cells, I've got my system, I've got my structure, so I've got to figure out how it works, so that when it does get destroyed, I can figure out like the way of how can I basically make this a whole lot better. Shinzo goes on to reiterate, saying that I'm going to take the destruction you bring and destroy it. That way I can protect my family and from the true destruction creeping creeping up on them, referring to Asa, as Asa is just holding Kazu's flaming sword, just being like, oh, truly a gorgeous fruition of Yozakura power. Allow me to show respect and admire your efforts and determination by giving you a proper battle here. Now, it doesn't go on for as long as I thought it was going to be, which, I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense, because we've still got Koricho, we've still got Futaba, we've still got Nano, and we've still got Shion to get through. So we've still got 4 True Spring Bloomings to see. And yeah, if they went on for, say, like 4 chapters a piece, that would be 4, 8, 12, 16. That would still be 16 chapters, which could very well take them up to the end of the year, which, hey, I'm not complaining, but yeah, I can see why it's kind of like, yeah, if you go at this kind of speed, maybe people might get sick of it. So I can honestly see why they're speeding up, but at the same time, I don't really like it. I feel like it should have been spread out. Like, this battle should have gone on for a little bit longer than it actually does, but it's still a pretty decent battle, even though it does take up only half a chapter. But as we start getting into it, Asa goes on to say, like, I condense decay into one blade. Even you can't stop. Like, doesn't matter how powerful your regeneration ability is. Like, decay's in this blade, one strike and you are just done, essentially, Shinzo. And I've got to know, like, what would Asa's voice sound out here with this eyeball? Would it be like, would it be something like, I picked this sword, like, I've condensed decay into one blade, like something like that, or would it just be like his actual voice coming through the eye? Hey, it could go either way. Although, fingers crossed we'll get that to this point in the anime. This is what I'm hoping, like, we get to this point in the anime with the whole Asa saga. As he and yeah, Asa continues on and says, my division cannot be undone. To do so will require destroying the hearts which I share. Attempt to save Kazu and fall to my blade, or destroy him along with me. It's your choice, Shinzo. You either destroy me along with him, or you attempt to save him and fall to my blade. There's no other option about it. And Shinzo's just there like, I really wish it didn't have to come to this. So this is where the battle truly gets underway, as we see as Kazu go to strike at Shinzo. Shinzo basically just grabs the sword of decay, because his whole body is that kind of True Spring Blooming of regeneration. So Shinzo's under the impression like, oh, okay, I just need to touch the blade, even though it will decay, even though my body may start to decay, I can simply regenerate it. As we see just this geyser of energy just thrush her up. So it's kind of like Kazu goes to strike at Shinzo. Shinzo blocks it, just like lifts it up, and just like the energy just blasts up into the ceiling, as we see Shinzo just go to grab at the eye. Like, it's like, okay, I've got a hold of the sword here, I'm now gonna get hold of the eye here, and we see like just this I don't know if it's Simone. No, it has to be Decay here that's just basically trying to take over Shinzo's body, as he goes on and says like, oh, regeneration with one hand, destruction with another. Hey, very impressive strategy that we've got going on here, like using his blooming and his True Spring Blooming in tandem with one another, basically finding that perfect balance, like what he was saying earlier in the chat of just being like, okay, what do I hate most about my blooming? How can I solve this problem? And I think he's actually found the perfect balance here of just being like, hey, I could theoretically activate both of them at the same time. I mean, it's going to take a lot of energy, but theoretically I can do it. So, like, I'm using destruction in one hand, regeneration in the other, and with this, I'm able to pull out. I might be able to pull out this eye. Hey, it's worth a shot. As he just gives Asa the death glare of just being like, bye, Asa. And to just see him just rip this heart, rip this eyeball out of Kazu's heart, and it's basically stuck to his heart. So it's basically like you've got the roots here, and then you've got the eyeball over here in Shinzo's eye. So it's kind of like just trying to get this off of Kazu, as we see the sword actually breaking, and before long, once the eyeball is completely off, Shinzo just takes one look here, thinks, and then just crushes it with his hand. Like, hey, he may be a coward at some times, maybe a little bit shy, but when he has those badass moments, Shinzo has those badass moments. So, as Shinzo destroys the eye, so he basically was able to do a attempt to save Kazu and fall to my blade. So he did save Kazu, but he didn't end up falling to the blade of Asa. Which, hey, he had a third option. He had a third option then. So we get the caption: Teinon Academy Central Floors. Storeroom 1 battle. The winner is Shinzo Yozakura. So that's 2 victories for the Yozakuras. So I mean, I expect a failure for one of them. Like, that's what I'm expecting here, as we, whether it's from Tayo or Shion or Nanano. I don't see it being for Futaba or Koricho, but I expect it, I assume it's going to be for either Shion, Nanano, or especially Tayo. I think that prophecy that Alpha made of just Asa defeating Tayo, I feel like that might actually come true, and how they'll get out of that, I have no idea. So yeah, Shinzo goes on and says like, oh, Asa's using a blooming to protect himself. He implemented bits of his heart into the 4 siblings. I think I managed to destroy one of them. I have faith that the rest of you can do the same. So basically iterating to everyone the information that he knows, like, okay, I know this weakness of Asa. I know exactly how we can take it down. Like, I'm sure you guys can handle it just as well as I've been able to handle it. And we have Keigo going like, the heart, what the heck? Yeah, I know, Keigo, it's pretty freaky. It's pretty freaky. And I love this from Shion. That's like, hacks. I call hacks. Like, it's basically like Shion, like, has known, like, all these traditional, like, overpowered anime characters or overpowered video game characters. Just like, hacks, this is cheating. We know, like, this is cheating. He knows that it's cheating, so this is totally unfair on his part. And then you just have Futaba going, oh, Roger. So we have 3 different reactions to this message from Shinzo of just being like, huh? What the heck? Hacks? Oh, okay. Roger, Shinzo. Thank you very much. Before we have Musume watching the battles and everything and just giving like a somber expression before we finally cut back to Tayo and Asa's battle, as it's mentioned that it's likely that Asa is effectively immortal. Which is part of the message that Momo is giving to Tayo in a flashback, as he says, but even Yozakura's power isn't omnipotent. So yeah, again, I like this. I really do like this, because it's basically saying like, hey, you know all those god overpowered characters that you have in anime and manga? Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're going to give this a fair, it's going to be hard, but it's going to be a fair, whoever wins this fight is going to feel like they earned this victory, rather than it just being like a simple like, oh, this character's overpowered, how do we take them out? Oh, with a Deus Ex Machina. So Momo continues the message here by saying like, okay, so we know that his powers aren't omnipotent, and that goes for Asa as well. So yeah, all you have to do is find chinks in his armor somewhere. You'll have to find it and exploit it however way you can, Tayo. When he begins to realise that he may be in real danger, that's your chance. That's when he can. That's when you can drag him into the ring for real. And you see Asa just feeling like, oh, Kosu's heart has been ripped out. The eye of his heart has been ripped out. Like, I see. Oh no, but since it was connected to his heart, does that mean that Kosu is actually dead? Or was it the case of just like, oh no, because you see, Shinzo's hand being put on Kosu's body, so I assume like Kosu's heart is being regenerated, even though it had Asa's eyeball inside it. So I assume that's what's going on there. But yeah, you see Asa just feeling like, oh my god, yeah, that did sting, and this is where even though Momo says he might be in real danger, I feel like this is where he's going to be at his most scared, because he knows that he's going to be in danger of actually failing, and this is where Asa might pull out all the stops and just show how terrifying he really is with his powers. I feel like that is what is going to come to pass here, as we see him going like, okay, Tayo, alright. As the founder of the Yozakura family, I shall now test the extent of your strength. Oh, as you see him I see Asa just actually standing there maybe slow clapping. I see just this ball, just like this ball appear behind Asa, as probably as the demonstration was like, okay, I'm gonna test how strong you actually are here. And this is where Momo gives his final message to Tayo, and when he's Tayo for the chapter, and when he starts attacking your back, move on to the next phase, and that's where the chapter ends. So yeah, pretty straightforward chapter. Like, Shinzo activated his true spring blooming. We find out exactly what it is. He used it in conjunction with his regular blooming to get Kazu out of this situation, but also not having to kill him, and being able to actually save his life or save his heart. Or don't know, because we see Asa just feeling the pain. So I guess Shinzo is regenerated, but it doesn't have a speck of Asa in it. I'm guessing that's what's going on here. But yeah, so I feel like this is the point where Tayo is going to fail in this fight. I feel like Tayo is just going to be he's either going to play it really cautious, or he's going to be playing it super overconfident. But also, I think Asa is going to be pulling out all the stops here to be like, okay, if you truly want to save this fight, if you truly want them to be away from me, you're going to have to come at me with everything you got. And if it's not going to be enough, then you are going to be screwed, Tayo. So whether or not that's actually going to come to pass, I don't know, and I am looking forward to it. Now, in terms of what's going to be happening, like, obviously there's going to be after this chapter that's coming up on Sunday, there's going to be a break, and yeah, and that'll be a point where the chapter review for chapter 237 will come out at any point in the next 2 weeks before chapter 238 comes out. So just giving you guys a heads up on that, because I really want a break as well to do other things. Like I said, to do the videos on Ben 10, do the Chrono Trigger video for Control Chaos, and obviously to do as much of a My Hero retrospective as we possibly can. So hopefully, I know like the Chrono Trigger one and the Ben 10 one will definitely come, but whether or not the My Hero one will come, that's a different story. But anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? Do you think that Tayo is going to fail? It's going to fail here, and do you think another Yozakura sibling is going to fail in their missions to take down Asa and his family? Personally, I feel like there's going to be at least one or possibly two, but I'm more leaning towards it like being Tayo to be the one that's like, no, Asa, because Koricho isn't there. Like I've been saying, it has to be Koricho and Tayo versus Asa, or it has to be at least all of them versus Asa. That's the only way I can see the series going around with a satisfying conclusion. The founder of the Yozakura being taken down by the people that he wanted to harvest and use for his own benefits, and they basically said, no, screw you, you're not part of our family, we've developed our family in the way that we feel is confident. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think of this. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz, and this will be Lasherluke signing off. Later, guys.